Miss Marvel episode 4. That's right, folks. We've passed the halfway point of this show now. And okay, yeah, this episode really was interesting, wasn't it? I liked a lot of this episode. I do think it's my least favorite of the 4, solely because it fell into the Marvel trap. It did. I'm sorry to say it. I was super on board for everything Miss Marvel was doing, but this episode, it just fell into that Marvel trap of over-explaining something that doesn't need explaining, and then doing weird stuff for no reason. Like, here's a big action sequence, and look, I get it. This is your target audience. They need to see action. It's the worst part of the character, in my opinion, is seeing Kamala in battle. She's not a character that we actively need to see fighting. I think she's a character we need to see fighting in a non-violent manner, fighting in different ways. But that's a problem we'll get to later when we talk about this character. So this time around, we're going to Karachi. That's right. She's going with her mother. They're going to go meet her grandmama, and they're going to go spend some time just back in the homeland. And of course, because Kamala is an American-born, what they say, it's like ABC something, American-born confused tourist or person or something, she doesn't understand the culture that she comes from as well as the people that live here. And that's smart for this show, solely because it makes Kamala a fish out of water. We have been exploring the way she goes about experiencing her own culture, being Pakistani in America. She goes to the mosque, how she deals with things at school and at home and all these different celebrations and the wedding and how she deals with that in America. She gets it. Like, that's a different kind of like new wave culture for her to experience of her own culture. But coming back here, it's a big culture shock for her. And I know I said culture a lot there, but that's what this show's about. This is about her culture and her people and her story and the story of a hero from this culture, from these people, from Pakistani people. And I don't think everybody gets that. And I've read a couple reviews before I went online. Some people are upset about it's woke. Like, no, it's not. How is this any different than any story about like a Catholic hero? It's literally Daredevil. This is literally like Daredevil, but for a different culture. Like, shut up. So she comes to Karachi. And she's here for a couple of reasons. Pretty much just because she wants to make amends with her mother. They're slowly doing that. They have like a truce as they're over here seeing the rest of the family. And she wants to know more about the bangle and what it's all connected to. Now, she still ends up with the one in this episode, which I think is very fascinating. She's going to get the second one at some point, right? Like, it's got to happen. But she's talking more to her grandmother, and she's just like, yeah, you're a djinn. It was a weird thing. Like, this whole experience happened. She's clearly on board for the storyline, and she's like, Kamala, you're special, babe. Like, you're perfect for this. Like, it's going to happen. It's like a once-in-a-generation thing. It's you now. I don't know what else I need to tell you. Go find the answer. I can't give you any of the answers. All I know is we saw the same train. You got to go find the answers for yourself, babe. So that's what Kamala is going to do. While still being a tourist in this country, she wears jeans to social events and they can't get into certain aspects of the club. I think that's a fun little bit because she's like, I am a girl from Jersey. Nobody told me I can't wear jeans. Like, that makes sense to me. She doesn't feel like bad about it. She's like, if somebody told me, I would have done something about that. I like that. I think that's a really good bit. And they run into one of her mother's old friends, and you see like the friends like, your mother used to be a little bit of a wild child, always going against the grain. Like, Kamala's not a regular name you hear for a Muslim girl. Guess what? Her mother was a little rambunctious and rebellious back in the day, and suddenly you're seeing like the generational thing where, hey, the generation before was like, hey, mom, you're talking down to me, but you're being a hypocrite about that. I like it. It's cute. It's fun. It's great. It's just really adorable. And I think the relationship between Kamala and her mother is only growing from this. You're buying that relationship, and you do get a scene with her mother and her grandmother talking about their own experiences and their trauma. And you just see like her grandmother's talking like, I had to do these things and be aware of these things and tell you these stories so you remember them. But her mother is just like, I didn't need you to tell me these stories. I need you to be here with me. Like, I understand what you're trying to do, but because of what you were trying to do, you couldn't be there for me in the moment. I think that's a really earnest thing to say. Because I'm sure of that generation, a lot of daughters feel that about their mothers, where it's like you kept trying to put pressure on this situation or talk about this thing and experience this incident or this moment, you forgot about the moment you're in and you lost the focus on me. And while you were still a good mother, there are just things that you can't heal from, or you just can't come back to. And I think, oh, that's beautiful. And that's the stuff where I'm like, give me more of that, please. That's what I'm loving about this generational idea of the culture and the stories. Kamala's mother is like, I don't need to hear the fairy tales. I don't need to hear the fables. I just want to protect my family. I had to get away because people were looking at my mother weird, and I couldn't handle it anymore. I just had to find myself away from this, but still being connected to her culture. And she came to America with this guy she loved, and they fell in love again, and they had some kids, and the story is back where it started. I'm like, yes, please and thank you. I love that. And I know it's the part of the story I shouldn't be harping on, but this is what Miss Marvel's about, buddy. This is what the story should focus on. Just this woman with trauma from her childhood, now giving that trauma to her daughter in a way, because when her daughter asks questions, she can't provide the answers, and her grandmother's providing more answers, but she doesn't ask the right questions. It's very fascinating. I really like what it's doing, and I think it's very smart and interesting. I'm just really digging this, and I feel so bad. I do not know the name of the actress who was playing Kamala's mother, but she's the standout for me in this show. I'm loving every scene she's in. I just really buy the relationship because she's healing essentially with Kamala and her grandmother in each moment she's in this episode. And again, I have to reiterate, almost dropped the mic there. I have to reiterate this. It's the most important thing this Disney Plus show has done compared to any of them. This is a serialized adventure. It doesn't feel like we're cutting away from a scene, credits roll, scene starts again. Last episode, we ended with Kamala needing to see her grandmother. It feels like a week has passed in real time. You know, her friend's not talking to her. Now she has to leave the country. It's happening episodically. And I'm like, please do this more. We don't have to have one story take place over the events of a night or however long the story happens. This is a story that's spanning time. It's Kamala growing up to learning to use this. She's not just figuring it out overnight. I love to see that. It's really nice. Okay, let's talk about it. She comes overseas. She finds this little boy. I say little boy. He's a big boy. It's Aramis Knight. You guys don't understand. I had to stop like, is that MK from Into the Badlands? A show which I adore. He's in the MCU now, and he's Red Dagger. He's like the Red Dagger boy. Please and thank you. Oh my goodness. So in the span of the 4 episodes, we got Bruno pining for Kamala, we got Cameron pining for Kamala, and now a Red Dagger boy is after Kamala, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And this is where I just started to lose a little bit of footing in this episode. It's just the over-explanation of like, we're the Red Daggers, and we're this organization, and we're here to protect the world from all this bloopity-bloop, another secret organization that we've never heard of in the MCU before. I get it, it's fine, who gives a shit? There's like 2 guys here, Aramis Knight and the oh my goodness, the sexy boy with the nice hair. Whew, my goodness, that man is a hunky piece of ass. I love it. Weird way to describe him, but yeah, he's the exposition machine. He's like, okay, so there's like these 2 realities. If I hit the button on this thing, you see the other reality. That's the one the Jinn are from. And it's like, we have to get them back there. And it's like, okay. Over-explaining that did bore me because I'm like, I don't care. You know what? Why do we have to say that? It's so we just the norm realm is fine. If you just say that, I get it. But it's like there's a reality in between ours, and we connect it together this way, and we have to find a way to do that. And you have like a sacred oath to protect the people here, and it's like whoa, okay. But the clandestines show up again, and we get a big chase sequence, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. You have the money because, relatively speaking, aside from the big, like, sweeping music number in episode 3, you don't have a lot of, budget going on here. So I'm like, okay, you don't probably need the $200 million you're getting for this, but we should use it. So let's have a big chase scene. It's okay. Again, it's like I got it, and it doesn't work out. The one guy has to sacrifice himself for the kids to be free. Okay. I get what you're doing. But somebody tries to attack the bangle, it explodes, and Kamala winds up in the past. Guess what? In the timeline that her grandparent and great-grandparent are talking about, where they see the stars pushing them back onto the train to find her father. Clearly that star train thing is going to be Kamala saving her grandmother. Clearly. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. I hope this is a really interesting way to explain a certain part of history to maybe a culture or a society that doesn't explain it, because apparently American history covers up a lot of things about other people that isn't American history. So I would love to see this part of history, just like I feel so bad that I can't remember his name. This is the problem I'm facing with talking about this show, is that I feel like I need to do more, not just research, but understand the culture more to fully say certain things. But we have to get out of India. It's pretty much what's happening here. The British are ruining lives. Let's get out. So Kamala's going to get a history lesson in the next episode, and that's kind of fun. Aramis Knight's still here, so that's also kind of fun. Again, there's parts of this episode I didn't like. It's like, here's the info dump with the other levels of reality, and this is the one you're in, this is the one we're from. There's these interconnecting bullshit. Big chase sequence I didn't really care for. But I like the growing connection between Kamala and every guy she meets. That's kind of fun. I like the way that the mothers are dealing with their trauma and dealing with like the ramifications of what they do to their daughters. I'm like, cool, that's fun. The Jin stuff, yeah, it's fine, but I still think there's going to be like the Kree thing coming up, but we'll see what happens. I'm liking this show. And while this episode is not my favorite, it is one of the best paced fourth episodes of any of the MCU stuff. Honestly, it is. So I like it still. This show is still my favorite show aside from WandaVision. And Kamala Khan's probably one of the best new characters they've introduced in a very, very long time. So episode 4 of Miss Marvel, iffy, but the stuff that's good, some of the best you'll ever see. So that's going to do it for this review of Miss Marvel. Now, thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.